Caldor. Let's go to Battleground number 1 here in this best of 5 series. BOE will be the choice as Method will get the ban. Sky Temple and Towers of Doom will be banned out.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if I can agree with the all-winner thing. That seems to be a very American approach.
You just want to dodge out and giving ribbons,
I'm
buddy.
pretty sure we're going to have at least 5 losers in this series.
Let's go into it. BOE, man. Is this a Battleground that we could have something different from our teams, or this be a little bit more traditional for them, you think?
I want action right off the bat. I want an aggressive draft here. I expect that Tracer and Genji are going to be banned again. Hanzo first pick, that's normally what we are seeing on Battlefield of Eternity. But if any one of them shakes it up a bit and maybe bans out another hero, bans out, I mean, even Abathar, I don't care, and we get a Tracer play here for game 1, I would absolutely love that. So I want aggression, I want team fights early on, and that's normally what we get on Battlefield. So I don't think that there's anything crazy coming. This is not the monkeys coming in with an Ana Alarak composition trying to bust out the combustion blaze. So I would expect normal compositions, a very aggressive playstyle from both teams. Especially Fnatic has shown a lot of team fighting in the first week, and I think that's what they're going to try and bring to the table here today against Method to get that early lead victory into the series. And there's the shakeup right away.
Medivh ban.
Fnatic banning out Medivh. And that leaves Genji and Tracer open, and Fnatic is going to be able to pick one of them if they don't want to go into Hanzo.
I will say, I'm hoping that whatever was in Schwibby's system on Friday is out. Falstad had a couple of moments that were a little question mark, right? He seemed a little bit off for the day.
Yeah, it comes back to what we said, like when emotions play a big role, and especially for Schwimby, that has sometimes been a problem in the past. So if he can rein that in, that's fantastic. But he definitely struggled on Falstad when we were looking at the matches on Friday. There were a lot of barrel rolls into fights there where you just don't want to put yourself into a position where your escape tool is on cooldown. And some of those decisions were a bit questionable. He also had that problem where he apparently cancelled his fly into the last boss team fight twice by accident.
Yeah.
And then they were trying to salvage the situation by him trying to backdoor towards the top. And they put a lot of damage onto the core, but together with the boss, the opponent was just a bit faster. And we have a completely changed our priority now for this. Genji taken early on, Tracer still open though, as Garrosh is banned out. So we are definitely in for a pretty spicy draft here compared to what we normally see on Battlefield of Eternity.
Is this Task Tracer for Method?
It's a good question because we have Hanzo also still open.
Yeah.
So we are in a spot where Genji was prioritized over Tracer, over Hanzo, but both of those are still available. You can also argue that Urel has seen such a huge priority spike that we could even see her in that early rotation. Malfurion has been an established first pick. Right now, with Medivh and Garrosh being banned on 1 and 2, you have a fantastic situation here where both of the teams have to really think a lot about, okay, how do we want to run this? What do we go and construct for ourselves, and what are we willing to give up in the first place?
The task makes sense for me just because of ADRD loving to play Tassadar. He's played so much in the past, and then of course the natural pairing is with that Tracer. But you brought up Urel, and Urel can be great against Genji in particular. When he goes in for that dive and you have the Divine Purpose and you're able to interrupt his deflect with the stun, you're able to shut him down and force him to skedaddle away. And we actually have an interesting draft.
Yeah.
Abathar and Urel come out for our 1-2.
I said it before we are headed into the draft, that I could see maybe one of the two, Genji, Tracer, gone through to ban out Abathar, and then they instead banned Medivh, which is also a really good argument to be made. I mean, it is IDRD, it is Medivh himself, but now we have that Abathar open, and it's immediately being picked, and we already have talked about how tanky and how sustainable Urel can be. If there's also Abathar then in the mix, it's really tough to go up against that. But still, there's a lot that Fnatic can do now. They can still think about Hanzo, they have Malfurion if they want Malfurion. They can still go and play around Deckard Cain as well if they are not willing to commit to Malfurion this early. And they're not. They're going for a full reset composition. Having Li Ming now in their setup as well, so Mena is going to be on one of the strongest heroes too. And we have Muradin on the front line. So already stuns coming in, set up for the combos, double reset. Very aggressive composition as expected from Fnatic.
Things get exciting when Titans clash. That is for sure here. Both Hanzo and Tracer has not been picked up in this first 5-man slots, and we could expect them to possibly even get banned out here. Maybe more so on the Fnatic side, as they're probably not going to try and pick up Tracer, but they would love to keep her away, especially with that Abathar being available. It's definitely something you can run. You don't need Tassadar now. Method on their side, thinking about their ban? What do they want to choose to make sure that this reset composition is not available for Fnatic that they've already picked up into it and is really strong?
I mean, the two things that you can highlight now that are still missing for Fnatic's composition are side lane and the support. So you can either think about if there's a support that stands out to you. Karazim has been played by Fnatic in the past. That might be one of the tools they could use to blow someone up. So Method might target that, but they are going for the side lane instead. And we have seen Malthael played a bit more. Last Hope has played a lot of the hardcore though, so that could be what we're going to see from Fnatic if they get the choice. Blaze also still an option here, giving an added layer of defense. It depends a bit on what Method is going to try and do here. But Fnatic with Tracer on the board, with Abathur on the board, are now denying Tracer. I feel if you don't bait Tracer, you ban Hanzo here. So definitely safe.
And Hanzo could be a worthy pickup here for Method. Have to be a little bit careful with Genji being able to get on top of him. It's always terrifying to play Hanzo. But as long as you have the support to protect him, you should be fine. I mean, Malfurion's still up and available. Decker Kane, which is becoming stronger and stronger, and one that Curson prefers to pick up.
Exactly. Curson really likes to play with Deckard Kane. There is... No, not quite.
What, you think about Rhaegar?
No, I was for a second even thinking if there is a chance that they're going for an Abathur solo support composition, but I don't really think that around Battlefield of Eternity you can get away with that, simply because it's so focused on the objective and the continuous poke that we have from both sides that it makes it really difficult to engage into that snap battle and take someone down. So if you go up against poke, Abathur just is not enough of a sustained healer in that sense that he can just help you through that, so you need a little more.
Karazim and Greymane come out for Method.
Talked about Karazim, and we expected him maybe on the side of Fnatic, but we're having him now for Method. Makes a lot of sense with Abathur. It's one of the combos we oftentimes highlight when Abathur is picked. Really helps Karazim to be a force to be reckoned with when he starts to jump in. You have the same, of course, on Greymane side, and especially with him being a copy target. Double Greymane jumping on Li Ming, trying to get the kill there, can be very, very powerful. So, terrifying draft by Method already. And it puts us also in a spot where they leave their front line open so that they can adjust a bit to whatever Fnatic puts onto the solo lane now.
What are you thinking about here for Fnatic? I mean, there's Kane that we've already mentioned, but does Stukov suddenly become a possible topic that we can talk about here for Fnatic, especially with it being Smexy?
If you pick Stukov, I think you still have to pick Blaze. It's still that added layer that you need. Teams have done such a great job to exploit the weaknesses that Stukov has, and the burst heal is one. So if you want to play Stukov, I feel you need a little bit more next to him, and a bunker could be that answer. But I could see Deckard over Malfurion for Fnatic, for sure.
Alright, time to find out. It's going to be Deckard and Arthas!
Okay!
An oldie but a goodie, one that you normally think about when you have high assassin damage that's coming from the opposing team that wants to auto-attack, and that is exactly what Greymane brings to the table. Illidan could be one that you can think about too if you want to play Arthas.
On the side lane, by the way.
Yeah.
So not as a main tank, but he's playing the side laner here. We have seen that in the past too a lot, but that is super cool. To be honest, we talked last week how we had in the series between Fnatic and Team Liquid, I think 35, 32 different heroes. Can't put my finger on it, I don't have the stat here. But this is definitely the season where we open up with by far the biggest variety of heroes within the first 2 weeks.
Oh, easily.
It's actually insane how many different heroes we have seen. I mean, you just think about this weekend. Samuro, Valera, Zeratul coming in. Now we have Arthas here as the main tank. Like, it's actually getting crazy of how diverse a lot of these drafts have become.
Vikings have played by 2 of our teams here in the HGC. Just a hefty amount of variety. Fifth pick about to come in here for Method. See which tank they'll be wanting to roll. It's going to be Tyrael.
Tyrael, really old school what they're playing here. I mean, if you take Uriel away from this composition, you replace Uriel with Illidan just for a moment, and you have a composition that was played in 2015.
Yeah. That's becoming a common trend for Bad Benny. He likes Tyrael on this battleground, it seems like, really appreciating that holy ground at level 13, helping section people off and catch them out of position.
But it's exactly, seriously, this is really a 2015-2016 composition, with the exception of Uriel replacing Illidan. This is just extreme dive heavy, diving into your opponent, everyone just jumping in together, Tyrael dropping the immediate sanctification whenever the opponent starts to fire back, and then you try to take someone down here. Uriel, of course, can also really help out with that. At this point, Ardent Defender is an option, but zone control, if they really got this dive heavy, you could also spec away from that and go into the Sacred Ground instead.
We'll see how it's going to pan out here, because it initially started with, it looked like the opening for Fnatic was to be the one who came in and brought the dive in, but as the draft evolved. It really became more of Method being the ones that have to try and enforce these fights. Luckily for them, Fnatic on the opposing side, they have Arthas, which is great trying to slow that down, especially if you can get on top of Greymane.
Arthas is an adjustment. I really like it.
Yeah.
But you still have to be a bit careful with him. If there's a Cursed Bullet 7-sided combo, if he's at any point isolated, he's dead immediately. So if you can survive the initial onslaught, you're fine with this. But yeah, we're heading into game number 1, and it is going to be a great start into a fantastic series as we see Method going up against Fnatic.
And here they are on the left. ADRD playing Abathur, Nick on Greymane, Thero on Yrel, Bad Benny on Tyrael, and Curson to deliver the punches with Karazim.
And to the right side of the map, it is Fnatic in game number 1 on Battlefield of Eternity. Mena on Liming, Breeze on Murden. We're seeing Shrimpy on Genji, Smexy on Deckard Cain, and Last Hope is playing Arthas. And we talked about it during the draft. Arthas on the side lane can be absolutely great. And against the composition that Method is trying to play here, he offers a lot. Slowing down the auto attacks of Karazim and Greymane is a fantastic tool to have in big team fights here. But he also needs to be careful. If he can survive the initial burst that comes out of Method with a Cursed Bullet after level 10 and a potential 7-sided through Karazim, then Arthas should be fine and will offer a lot in the team fight itself. But he needs to be careful because when he gets isolated, he is going to be in a lot of trouble because of that heroic ability.
I am curious to see how Last Hope will perform on Arthas. As you mentioned, it's going to be difficult for him already, but also because of Thero mentioned in interviews that he feels like Last Hope is a very strong player. One of the concerns that he would have looking on the outside of a team is that hero pool for Last Hope, and they kind of target him a little bit in this draft. First off, they take away Yrel, which we saw from him in the last matchup. They ban out Malthael, which was big for him as well, and left him open with the Dahaka. But Arthas, this is the first time that we've seen it from Last Hope, so we'll see how he performs.
And you mentioned Dahaka. Last Hope has actually done really well with Dahaka. He is very solid on the hero. It doesn't really reflect in the win ratio of Dahaka for them yet. They played Dahaka 3 times, lost 2 out of those 3 games. But his performance on the hero was always really strong. And another thing I want to point out here is because we've been talking so much about preferences and builds and how certain teams are trying to spec specific heroes. When you look over to Muradin, we have Breeze again with 3rd wind here. And this is really something that we see from him a lot. Whereas the rest of Europe has now more adapted a Korean approach towards the Muradin build and gone into Perfect Storm on level 1 to add additional burst. We have Breeze with just slightly a different playstyle where he's willing to soak more shots of the opponent to try and block at the immortal side and then use his 3rd wind to top himself up, whereas not putting as much of a strain onto Deckard Cain. So definitely something that we see from Breeze a lot.
That seems to be a goal when you're watching Breeze. How much can he take from the opposing team and get away with a sliver of health? It always seems like he's pushing the limits. Nick, jump into Worgen form and try and get disengaged. With another hat coming in though, he should be safe as Fnatic looks to clear up that top camp. Finally, they do clear it up. Back to the bottom lane though. That's Genji all by his lonesome, which means they won't be able to respond back and attempt to grab the Merc camp to the south. But they can grab the camp here to the right, and they'll start it.
And again, this is going to be a super important match for both of them. They are very likely to be contenders when it comes to positions for the playoffs towards BlizzCon, but also towards the Western Clash. So it's absolutely crucial to get a victory here so that you take the lead in the direct comparison, but also another match win is very important for Fnatic as they lost to Team Liquid. And they had a couple of weaknesses in the first 2 series that they played. And in the last one, this was more so on an individual level and also running the double global setup with the Hakan Force set that didn't give them as much value as you would expect from Fnatic. Method, on the other hand, very strong performance thus far, and already aggressive towards the bot lane, showcasing how much mobility they have on these heroes and how much dive exists in this composition.
And how much damage they can put out. They put Genji down to half health before the deflect thing came out, and that was within a couple of seconds of immediately jumping on him. So something that Fnatic will have to be worrisome about. Shrimpy actually still having difficulty here, as Curson works on this turret, helps Ballstruck with push in the bottom lane. Breeze comes over though and looks for Nick. Gets a decent little bit of clap on him. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Arthas is actually trying to mess with Yrel a little bit as Thero comes in and gets knocked back.
Yeah, Thero is going up against Last Hope here, and this is a battle that we're going to see quite a bit in this game, the 2 solo laners. Abathur, of course, with a Carapace build again, and now Greymane is on the Immortal, and that is something that Fnatic has to be worried about, since Greymane is just fantastic when it comes down to chunking the Immortal hit points away. But we have an immediate commitment by Fnatic themselves, and they're actually racing this pretty quickly. Last Hope doing a great job slowing the onslaught down here, and Fnatic therefore getting a slight lead over Method in the first Immortal.
Using that Abathur, exploiting the body not being there as they get that race as you mentioned. Method tries to put some damage on the opposing Immortal, but has to run over and play a little bit on the protection thing, especially with them being a bit behind. Mene concedes though.
Yeah, this is a big advantage, a big advantage for Fnatic, that they can siege from a distance. Method has more trouble doing it. Nice root by Last Hope. That was really well done, as Method has taken on a defensive position here, but the poke is still coming through as we see Arthas rotate to the top to catch the wave. Abathur is doing the same thing for Method down at the bottom of the map, so they don't need to rotate someone out. And the Symbiote is helping out the entire time. But again, the approach of Method towards the left immediately upon realizing that Fnatic was sort of moving away.
Li Ming trying to move up, but Fnatic decides they have to fight. They rotate over. Breeze looking for a Stormbolt. Ooh, does not connect though.
Arthas comes in from the top. So far undetected, is still hiding in the bush here.
A lot of dancing between the two. Mene on the right gets a little bit more damage in, drops an orb, a couple of magic missiles as well.
Good combo by him. Once again, firing away here. Arthas rotating topside. Abathur on the same lane.
Really enjoy how Breeze is controlling this, holding that middle with Mexi backing him up with heals.
Yeah, Shrimpy looking for Nick as Nick is trying to jump onto the Immortal again.
Jumpy has to be careful. Mene taking some damage from Curson.
Taking a lot of damage. Curson, there was also an Abathur head involved, so Mene needed to back off, needed to try to tap at the well. This is going to be a close Immortal.
Yeah, both teams so stretched. Nick finding some room here to clear out
Benny.
the damage of the Immortal.
Benny getting attacked, yet immediately being jumped upon. Mena wants him, they're going for Benny, but the Immortal is also being attacked.
Resets.
Down he goes, Tyrael is eliminated, the resets are starting to come in. The explosion does damage, but not enough. Last Hope is still alive, turns around, hits the root, and that's the kill as Karazim falls, the second victim in the fight.
Ethereal's gonna go for it though. He gets the last auto attack, but he might fall for it. It's gonna be an Immortal going over to Method, but Ethereal finally does fall. And he's noticed the moment Fnatic was able to soak level 7, that's when they went for the engage. And Calamity gave them one kill. Couldn't get the second one though, not quite enough follow-up, as Method was able to survive a little bit longer than expected.
Calamity unleashes Li Ming, and especially in the hands of Mena, that hero is deadly. And now they have gotten the triple kill. They lose out on the Immortal, but they should have an easy defense against this one. The bot lane is held by Arthas and Genji, and that's actually a really smart split from Fnatic, making sure that it's very difficult for Method to siege into these structures.
We talk about it on a lot of other maps, but it's equally as important on this battleground. With the turrets not having as much experience as they used to on this patch, you're able to lose out on the first Immortal and still be fine. Fnatic was able to trade out that Immortal and get a couple kills, and with it all being said and done, they're actually ahead in experience despite losing 3 turrets. Fnatic looking for another fight here as the Howling Blast connects. That Benny will have the Eldruin pretty soon though, so he steps up, brings up the Smite, while Curson tries to put some damage out.
I'm really liking the setup that Fnatic uses around Muradin and Arthas, trying to get either the Frozen or the Muradin Stormbolt into play to make sure that Deck Arcane is hitting a scroll. That is exceptionally well done by them so far, and it really works out. Hero again, look down here, Stroll immediately follows, and that is a lot of free damage that comes in, even with Li Ming missing. I mean, this is painting a bullseye on any hero that they catch in that combo, but Mena isn't here because he's the one who currently has to hold the top lane. But once that they are in a big fight, if they get that execution off and a lockdown like this and Mena hits a combo, that could be a potential disaster for Method. And to be fair, Method is half a level, more than half a level behind. They're actually about to lose out on an entire level in the experience and fall behind when Fnatic hits level 10.
Last Hope getting a lot of these Howling Blasts, so hitting 2 to 3s pretty often. He's building pretty tanky here. The only pickup that we have that is a little bit normal or that you've seen on old Arctis before is that Frozen Waste, as you were mentioning. He's actually pretty close to finishing that puppy out, only 111 stacks already. With the Icebound Fortitude at level 7 coming in, making sure that he has that CC reduction available to him if he needs to. And it makes him a little bit on the tankier side.
Yeah, I'm really liking the way that he plays this right now. And again, I enjoy the draft. This is an old school tool that you used against Illidan compositions. And as we said before, the composition that Method runs, if you exchange Urel, then it's basically what we've seen in 2015, 2016. And Arthas has been an old counter to that. When your opponent heavily relies on the auto attacks, you can play with him. You just have to make sure that you keep him alive when the Curse Bullet combo with a potential 7-sided comes out, if that's the choice that Karazim, the Curson, goes for, and he does.
They do.
So we have exactly that. So you can now try and blow up those 2 tanks at the front line. And that's where Fnatic needs to make sure that they survive through the burst, and then they should have a good position within the team fights here. But Method is definitely going to look for that opportunity.
Method holding the middle of the map here. Gonna have Urel rotate to the top. Again, having that Divine Seed will allow for it to clear out that night camp, especially with Fnatic showing themselves to the south. Double Greymane, also an option too. If they do win a team fight, you can shred structures, take down forts, take down keeps. Don't even have to use it in team fights, but they'll be looking to do so. Nick takes a big orb to the face here, picking the Immortal, as Ethereal goes in and slows down Breeze.
Yeah, nice attempt by Last Hope to connect the Frozen Waves, but Ethereal was anticipating it already and dodged to the side. So this time there's no follow-up with the scroll. They're still waiting for exactly those moves. They're trying to go for Last Hope, and that's exactly the blow that we've been talking about. He goes down, the Sanctification is on the ground, as Method is going for the snap kill. The stay a while and listen hits 5. They're trying to retreat, but Method is on their heels, trying to go for the second kill.
Bad Bunny with the smite will give them the speed they need, and they find Smexy. Breeze will be next here if they can catch him. The strike comes out from Swimpy, but doesn't really do too much. The shields, enough from Bad Bunny. ADRD with the clone, also finding a kill on Li Ming.
And all of a sudden, Method taking 3 kills and opening up the second objective here. And it comes exactly through the combo that we highlighted earlier. You try to go for Arthas, you blow him away, and it starts with the Cursed Bullet. And if you get that setup and he falls, then you're in trouble. And Benny, he just followed it up perfectly. Fnatic was trying to get that counter kill because everybody stacked on Arthas, and then Mane comes in, and we see also Shrimping with Genji applying pressure, but the Sanctification negates everything.
Bad Bunny keeping up on the front line, trying to block Last Hope. 7-setter comes out, puts damage on both Breeze and Last Hope. They come forward though, they want to fight on this Immortal. Fnatic thinks they need to win this here, and they're losing pretty drastically. Ethereal brings up the heal though, the Vindication keep him alive, and the instant mount will get him out.
There's definitely also a bit of a grudge match aspect to this game, since Bad Benio, of course, previously played on Fnatic, played on the solo lane. That didn't really work out for Fnatic, so he left and went over to Method, went back to the old team expert lineup, and now plays into the main tank position again. Where I would definitely say that he excels on that way more than he does on the off lane. But therefore, he definitely wants to win this series right now, and Fnatic is in a position where they want to make sure that they are taking it and just saying, like, see, we made the right choice there.
Well, with the second Immortal being picked up, Method may be able to make a big splash here. Already having a slightly inexperience, but they want to establish more as they move for level 13. This fort will give them that. Especially with that, they're soaking that top lane the entire time. Arthas having to deal with that split push. Not even coming down to help with the defense. Fnatic will siege away with Li Ming, but they still have a shield here on this Immortal.
Yeah, that Immortal is going strong. Now Arthas is up at the top, so there's 4 heroes currently defending the bottom lane. Arthas should be able to get some damage in. Nice scroll here again. Shrimpy dashes in, puts some damage on, and hops over the wall. Breeze also always baiting here a little bit and trying to put the extra pressure onto the Immortal as they're breaking through the wall and starting to go towards the keep. Arthur's actually starting to rotate down. They don't have the 13 yet. He didn't stay long enough to give them the extra talent because they need him down here for the defense. ADRD even committing to Greymane copy again since they want the keep, and they are going to get this one.
They're going to get the keep. Can Fnatic answer back there with a kill. Last Hope steps up, but ADRD buys time. He jumps on Smexy and Mane, forcing them to back up. And Method will easily walk away. Breeze is trying to chase here, though. Can jump in at any point and maybe go for a Stormbolt, but he has to be careful. He has to keep an eye on where his damage is. The damage, they're clearing up the waves in the bottom lane. Shwimpy right now dealing with the minions instead. Method able to grab that keep and get away without any issues.
Last Hope actually scouting this out. They're going for him again. He's about to fall, gets split, and that's the end of Arthas for the second time. He was actually trying to go the safe path there for a second and decided against it once that he saw that Breeze was with him. Did not expect himself to get blown up like this. But that's the danger. That's the MO of Method. They're looking for that one kill against the front line tank against either Arthas or Muradin. And Arthas doesn't have that escape tool. Muradin can hop out. Arthas can't. And this is what Method is currently exploiting.
Method cleaning up, Curson here, dealing with damage on top of Breeze. He'll have to eventually dash out, and the camp does go over to Method. Last Hope is back and on the field, but not yet with his teammates. And with 2 forts being down, that front layer of defense not available for Fnatic, which means Method can grab everything they want on the map here. They're just trying to stay even on experience, but with 16 looming, Method is looking to take a talent advantage.
Yeah, the Method is currently just absolutely running the show here. And again, I like the Arthas pick for what it is, but the weakness around it is something that Method is exploiting very ruthlessly, and Fnatic is a bit struggling to make sure that the front line survives. And especially with Last Hope, again, you can argue you should have taken the safe path here. You always have to think about what is the worst case scenario here? Where could my opponent be? So double checking the bush maybe with a frozen waste, just not walking past it could have been one of the approaches. I don't think he expected to die there as quickly as he did. So Method is about to take that 2-level lead, and they're also taking the extra talent, and that puts Fnatic in a very awkward spot where they very likely have to fight on a talent disadvantage because he just can't simply let this go over.
Method uses Greymane to great effect, though. Able to shred down in the halftime show. They take a nice little lead. Fnatic gets back considerably, but still on the losing end so far. They'll have to play defense in the next Immortal phase and maybe try to find a pick. But already you see Tyrael trying to move forward. He has picked up Law of Order at 13, by the way, instead of Holy Ground, so looking for extra shields and extra damage.
Yeah, but look at Greymane. He has gone straight into Alpha Killer on level 16, so this is another tool in the arsenal now to take down one of the frontliners. It's a very, very uncomfortable decision for Fnatic to be in. The Method has a great spot to take the Immortal and win the team fight, and they're trying. 7-sided, stay a while, listen comes out. This time they negated it, no tank blown up. This is a good chance for Fnatic, but the Sanctification is already on the ground as Method is trying to turn it around here. 80 already in the backline, but he gets blown up. The copy is down, and this is the moment where Fnatic can try and find kills.
Still an impressive Sanct there from Bad Benny. He's going to go ahead and go with the escape. Ethereal should be able to jump out, waiting for it. Curson buying some time, jumps to the bottom left. Swift trying to go for the kills, goes to the extract, but he gets locked down, and Nick turns around and brings out a slash to get the kill.
Shrimpy going too deep for this one. Mane again with the damage here. Breeze is now in trouble as Athero is jumping behind them again. Great by Athero, pushing everyone into the death zone. And it's an easy kill against Breeze. Last hope falls. Smexy gets isolated, also taken down, and Method just bodying Fnatic in this fight.
And the bottom lane catapults are making their way towards the core, so start working on the shields. Ethereal even jumping over. We'll be joining up the rest of his team here. Sanctification won't be up for 50 seconds, but Greymane is still here, and with Ultimate Evolution being available, you can go straight for this core here, but you gotta be careful. Mane, with those resets, could be an issue. Ethereal doing his best to zone him out.
Now again, we had a talent disadvantage for Fnatic throughout the entire fight, but they even had a chance to go in. But Shrimpy got a bit too over-eager as he was looking for kills into that backline, and that didn't work out. But dodging the initial burst damage onto the front line really helped Fnatic in the fight itself. The problem, of course, was that they still lacked the level 16 talent, and that advantage for Method was enough to carry them through the fight, and now they're looking to end the game.
Yeah, Method constantly looking on this bottom, trying to see if they can maybe catch off Breeze or even Arthas. Arthas sharking around, playing careful.
Yeah, Immortal at the top. Mainly the only one defending. Here comes ADRD again with a copy. They're trying to move in. Scroll comes out. Sank is up. Shrimpy with the X-Strike escape. Gets challenged and dies. The Stale while listen a second too low to save him here. They're trying to turn it around somehow. Only thing that they can take down is the copy on ADRD. But the second keep is now about to fall as we're seeing the Immortal moving through the top. And Method is not going to stop there.
Not going to stop. The core is still up for Fnatic though, so defense isn't too impossible. Not having that reset from Genji is something of an issue to be worried about. Still got to worry about that Sanctification though. Any point, Method can flip the switches, go straight all in for the score.
They still don't have 16. Fnatic still doesn't have 16. The 7-sided, they're moving in, they're trying to take it. And here comes the end. Fnatic goes down as Method claims victory on Battlefield of Eternity.
Wow, that actually looked really dominant there. Fnatic having a couple of moments where maybe they could have fought back with the blow potential a little bit too much here for Method. The coordination continues to be an issue, and Bad Benny making sure to land those Sanctifications. They really delivered here.